Steve Irwin's horrific death. Steve Irwin was unarguably the most famous wildlife expert ever. He featured in many popular TV shows like Late Night with Conan O'Brien. He also gained a nickname of the Crocodile Hunter for his heroics in the documentary series, which went by the same name, Crocodile Hunters. Steve's love towards animals and his charming personality made him a sensation worldwide. In 2006, when his popularity was at its peak, an untoward accident happened while he was filming a short-tailed stingray at the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Within seconds, all hell broke loose, and what remained was cloudy water filled with blood. Before we dive deeper into the tragic death of Steve Irwin, first, let's remember the great man he was. Steve was born on February 22, 1962, in Victoria, Australia, to Bob and Lynn Irwin. His father was a wildlife expert with a specialty in reptiles and amphibians, and his mother Lynn was a wildlife rehabilitator. It's fair to say that the love Steve had for animals was built into his genes. He spent most of his childhood in Queensland Reptile and Fauna Park, and thought not exactly like Mowgli from the Jungle Book. He learned the ways of animals at a very young age, at an age when most of us will run to our mothers even at the sight of a lizard. Steve was playing with crocodiles as if they were his pet dogs. As time passed, Steve developed a sixth sense when it came to crocodiles and other animals in the park. Soon, he started on a journey of catching dangerous crocodiles in the wild, who were becoming a menace with Australia. Working in combination with the Queensland government, Steve was able to catch more than 100 problematic crocodiles. Steve developed his own techniques in catching crocodiles. His techniques to capture these apex predators were so perfect that they have now become standard all around the world as the best techniques of handling crocodiles. In October of 1991, Steve met his soon-to-be soulmate, Terry Raines. Soon, the couple got married and decided to do what they loved. Both of them were wildlife enthusiasts and soon decided to engage with wildlife and record their adventures with an objective to create awareness among common masses about the life of wild animals. It was at this time Steve's show, The Crocodile Hunter, became a worldwide phenomenon and made Steve the most famous wildlife expert on the face of the earth. In 1998, Steve and his wife renamed the park that Steve grew up in as Australia Zoo, with their vision of making it the best zoo in the world. Life seemed like a fairy tale for this humble man from Australia as he kept on pursuing his dream of working around problems and in the process making people aware about the beauty and wilderness of amazing animals. But as the saying goes, nothing lasts forever, and nobody knew that the life of this amazing man was going to be cut short. In 2006, Steve was approached for a documentary on ocean's deadliest animals. Steve agreed as soon as he had heard the proposal, as he wanted to be part of this new adventure. Steve himself revealed that he was a thrill seeker and enjoyed shooting shows around wild animals, but he always maintained that educating people about these animals was his primary goal. And in pursuance of this goal, Steve and his team decided to visit Beth Reef, a part of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, on 4th of September 2006. On this fateful Monday morning, Steve and his good friend John Staten woke up early to discuss some technicalities about the show. Steve was excited as always to start this journey, but John had an eerie feeling that something was amiss. And this feeling was not a one-off. John had felt something amiss about this project for a few days. He had even called the executives at Discovery Channel and shared his concerns, but they dismissed them as being irrational. While enjoying a cup of tea, Steve expressed to the crew how blessed he feels for he is able to do what he loves. While Steve was eagerly waiting to jump into the ocean, the weather that day was not conducive for diving at all. Members of the crew felt that the waters were too cloudy and murky to see anything properly, and that they should postpone shooting for the day. Steve agreed hesitantly, for he himself knew that it would be difficult to get beautiful shots of ocean's deadliest in cloudy waters. Now, he may have agreed half-heartedly to not shoot for the documentary, but sitting on the boat, he felt like a caged tiger. Somehow, he convinced his cameraman Justin Lyons to join him for a dive. Justin was not only Steve's cameraman, but also his best mate. He agreed on Steve's request. Steve thought that if he cannot shoot stunning footage for his own show, maybe he can get a few quick shots for his daughter's upcoming show, Bindi the Jungle Girl. Bindi was like a mini version of Steve, and just like any dad, he loved his daughter a lot. Steve wanted his daughter's show to be a huge success. Steve, along with his cameraman, took an inflatable and went near the perfect spot where they hoped to find a tiger shark or two, for they are one of the deadliest animals in the ocean. Unable to find one, they decided to film a short-tailed stingray who was moving around very close to them. While not as deadly as a tiger shark, these stingrays do own a bad reputation for striking relentlessly with their deadly tail once enraged. Short-tailed stingrays are one of the largest stingrays in the world and can grow up to 7 feet in length and weigh up to 350 kilograms. Steve, being Steve though, was not at all scared of this animal, for he knew of his capabilities as a wildlife expert. Moreover, he knew that stingrays are not aggressive animals by nature, and humans are most definitely not a part of their menu. Steve was confident in his abilities, and so was his cameraman, for they were experienced divers and stingrays are known to choose running over attacking a human most of the time. Once they spotted the stingray, they took footage of this animal in all its glory. The shooting was almost done, and John was satisfied with how it went, but Steve wanted some more footage. He wanted to have a shot of the stingray swimming away from them. Soon as all hell broke loose, something triggered the stingray and it turned aggressive. Within a few seconds, it shot its spear-like tail at Steve and managed to stab him quite a few times. Its attack was so strong that it managed to puncture Steve's chest and leave a 2-inch hole just above his heart. Most people believe that the barb broke off in Steve's chest and that he pulled it out, ultimately causing the damage to his heart that would lead him to pass. However, these were merely rumors as told by his close friend and cameraman Justin Lyons. While Steve had tamed deadly crocodiles 3 times the size of the stingray, he was completely helpless against blazing fast attacks of the stingray. Within 2 seconds, it was all over. Steve never even had a chance to react. Steve had made a pact with the cameraman that he didn't want Justin to stop shooting even if he was being attacked by an animal. At first, Justin kept recording this attack and panned as it swam away. When it turned back to see Steve surrounded by blood, he realized the gravity of the situation. He rushed to help Steve, but by then, it was too late. He was losing blood at a very fast rate. Steve was rushed to the medic who had accompanied by his crew. As soon as he saw the wound, the medic knew that the situation was grave. The doctor on the team did everything in his power to save him, but failed to stop the bleeding. Even though the crew was distraught, they were calling out to Steve and urging him to stay strong and think about his family. Justin remembers Steve looking up at him and saying, "I'm dying." This would turn out to be his last words. Soon, a bigger team of paramedics arrived and broke the news that everyone's beloved Steve was no longer with us. Steve may have died that day, but he is still remembered as the best wildlife expert ever. It's fascinating that the video of his death was never revealed to the public. Steve's family and the producers at Discovery Channel arrived at this conclusion together as a sign to show respect to the great man, and the footage of the attack on Steve has since been destroyed and no other copies exist. Steve Irwin introduced animals in a different way, a more humane way. He always used to say that if we teach people about wildlife, they will be touched. He wanted to share the wildlife with the common man, for he truly believed that humans want to save things they loved and they will protect wildlife. His love for animals was immense. His sudden death was tragic for everyone and especially for his family. The world lost a true legend, and even today, his legacy and his work lives on.